Welcome to another live lunch and learn on Monday, the 17th of March, 2025. I had to remember the date now. So for those who are here for the first time, welcome. My name's Tim Wagner. I'm an international speaker and professional pointer, which means that I help business owners, leaders, teams, and entrepreneurs to break outside of the relentless stress cycle that they find themselves in so that you can thrive and no longer just merely survive. I imagine a time where authentic leadership creates teams who feel seen, heard, and valued. This is a world for me where healing begins through what I call transpirational experiences. Don't look up that word, it's mine. I made it up. I must trademark it one day soon. These are experiences where growth is sparked by genuine inspiration, transpirational experiences. So if you are interested in what I'm sharing with you today, these are weekly live lunch and learns, 15 minutes of sound bites of information and strategies, tools, teaching, coaching, guiding that I share with you. Right at the bottom, click the link down there for the Pathfinders community. This is my free community where you'll find, I think there's probably about 30 recordings of previous lunch and learns, as well as a lot of other information where I'm just sharing all out. No, I don't hold back. This is a huge part of what I do. This is my service to you guys, finding out value of this. And you will just find all of that in the Pathfinders community. Or if you're live on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel. You'll find all the recordings there too. And if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn Live, this is where I am also every single week. Click the link to the community. Join it. It's free. No hold back there. This is me to you. So what I'm going to share today, as you can see on there, bridging the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. So if you've joined my previous sessions or seen those recordings, which you'll find on YouTube and in my community, I've led into what we're talking about today, which is all about identifying that gap that you need to fill to help you become who it is that you want to be. Not what you do or why you do it. This is more personal. This is down to you. And this part of my program, this actual piece comes from a part of my program, which is the Professional Pointer Program. And I use the acronym BREATHE. It's a 7-stage program that I run over 6 months or 12 months. It begins with your breath of life, understanding what is important, why is breathing so important, how this can break through your stress. Reclaiming who you are now is another major part of this. This is where we're going to now today go into the goal activation plan, starting to create that roadmap to take you from who you are to ultimately who you will become. So this is the second part of my 7-stage framework. And if you want to know more about that, book a call with me. Let's sit down, have a chat. Happy to share with you and go through some more detailed strategies. In the meantime, let's climb in. In the community, you will find a PDF document, which is going to break down this that I'm going to be sharing with you in a lot more detail, including giving you the worksheets as well. So if you want access to that, again, click the link. There we go. Join the community, and there you'll be able to get access to this. So this part of my program really comes from the basis of what I felt over many years of doing coaching, mentoring, speaking, guiding, 16 years now, crikey, it's nearly 17 years actually, that is really missing part in personal development. And that is breaking down and understanding who you are before you start to develop and grow. Now, what do I mean by that? I found that a lot of personal development programs starts on, how can I put this? A false sense of reality. For example, a farmer doesn't just go and plant new crops, new information going into our minds. He doesn't plant new crops without turning the soil, without fertilizing, without taking out last year's weeds and roots from the previous crop and the stones that have come up and cleaning that ground. Then he plants the new crop. So the new crop is new information. And if our subconscious minds and our limiting beliefs and our paradigms, which are pre-framed from preachers, teachers, parents of the past, past traumas, past experience, past failures, of which there's no such thing as a failure. There's only a lesson learned, which means everything's positive. Changing paradigm. If we start and we build on rocky ground, it's not going to go in. So we need to break this down, and that's where the bridging the gap concept comes from. It starts with understanding who you are at the core fundamental basis. And over the years, I've worked out that nobody really knows who they are unless you've gone through some deep introspective analysis and broken that down clearly. And if you do not know who you are now and embrace it fully, embracing your imperfections, your mistakes, your misgivings, your faults, all of these things fully, you're not going to break through to being the best version of yourself. My experience has shown me when you know who you are, your core, your authentic nature inside, not intellectually ego-driven, but heartfelt, and you align it with why you do what you do, and you can, in the Pathfinder on YouTube, you'll find details where I'm breaking down, helping you go through your deep-seated reason why, what is your golden dream that gets you out of bed in the morning. When you combine those and you add in the breath work, that's when you become unstoppable. And Jim Rohn has got some phenomenal quotes where he says, success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by the person you become. I put in who there. Sort of ad lib. Success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by who you become. And he also says, happiness is not obtained by what you get, but by what, or in my term, who you become. This is where we need to bridge that gap. Now, what do I mean by bridging a gap? We're all inspired to achieve goals and dreams. And this is what makes us unique as a species, that humans have this inspiration for goals and dreams. Yet it's beaten out of us at school. So a schooling system is not designed for creating geniuses. It's designed for reproducing information, not thinking. So most of us get stuck in understanding what our goals and dreams are. So few stumble across the vast amount of material there is. And every time you go to YouTube or you go on a personal development program, there's a lot out there. But where do you start? And if you started by just merely writing down your dreams and goals or reading the book, The Secret, wouldn't that be wonderful? Is that if that was all that was required or needed in order to have that dream and goal? But it becomes more than that. Imagine for a moment that you dream of being a homeowner, right? Maybe you own your own home already and you relate this, or you have a dream to own your own property. There's multiple things that need to happen, that you need to do, that you've got to learn or discover in order for you to become that homeowner. You've got to have a look at the location. Where is it? How safe is the suburb? Is it close to the shops? If you've got kids or you're going to have kids, how close is it to the school? Where is it in relation to where family and other friends live as well? So there's a lot of things, the condition of the house, the maintenance, the resale, the upkeep. All of these things are individually daunting hurdles that you need to break through and go to. Ultimately, once you've done all of these things, you've learned these new things, you've pushed through the barriers and the foundations, you've got that income going that you're going to be covering the bond, and hopefully you're not going to be giving the bank all your bloody money, because that's a whole scam, but let's not go down that route, and you can pay a big chunk of it off in cash. In the end, have a look at who you become in the end. You see, it's not what you do, it's who you become. You become a homeowner. And that's ultimately what you want. From going from renting or living with parents to being a homeowner, you've changed who you are. Now, when we represent this, I talk about this as bridging the gap. Who am I now? I'm a tenant. Who I'll become? A property owner, homeowner. Now, there's a gap between this. The time can be anything. You determine how long. In this example, I've put there 5 months or 6 months. Now, the information that you have at your disposal right now, from the skills that you've got from previous knowledge, you studied things, you've read books, you got on seminars about property ownership and understanding about how interest rates work and accounting and all that type of things, and you've got experience in business, your past knowledge, all these things will get you so far, but then there's a gap. There's a gap of information to get you to who you'll become. The intention of this exercise is to help you identify what that gap is so that you can fill it to become who you will be, or who is that person that you ultimately desire to be. This is bridging the gap, the goal activation plan. Now, within this gap, there's 3 criteria that you're going to use. You may want to write this down. The first is the skills gap. This is the ability to perform tasks and activities and competently to develop these skills through practice. So you're identifying skills that you don't have that you will need to fill. Then knowledge gaps. Knowledge gaps is information, understanding gained through education or studies, which is different from skills. This is the intellectual stuff, pinpointing the areas where you need more information, more understanding. The third one is then you have mindset gaps, recognizing the mental barriers and attitudes that may be hindering you from personally or professionally achieving and being at that point who you would like to be. So there's 3 areas: skills gap, knowledge gap, mindset gaps. Now, moving aside from the property example, we have a look and saying, well, there's 7 areas in life that we're going to apply this model to. Now, over time, you'll ideally go through all 7, but right now, pick 1 or 2 of them to focus on. A 7 is just going to be too overburdened and overwhelming. Break them down: spiritual, mental, vocational, financial, family, social, and physical. You're going to cover the gap in each of those over time. So the example I'm going to use now is pretty much most people can relate to it: physical. So this is the Bridging the Gap worksheet. Now you can draw this out if you want, but if you're part of the community, you'll get it in the PDF document. Take that Bridging the Gap, and under the first column there, who I am, write who you are now. For example, overweight or unfit. Then the next step is to write who you will become. Who is that ideal person? That will be over there in the last column. Who is that ideal person, that outcome of that person that you want to be in your fitness? It's not a goal. For example, a goal will be lose 10 kilos. That's not what we're talking about, because that's not who you'll become. When we talk about who you'll become, identify somebody who has that level of fitness or physique or look that you would like. For example, if you're a bodybuilder or you want to be fit and strong and muscly, you may put Arnold Schwarzenegger in there. Or if you want to achieve certain level of sports, you'll then put a professional who is at that level that you seek. So you're identifying a role model. Now, it doesn't mean that's the person that you're going to become, but you're going to pull out some key criteria about that person that you identify with to help fill, where are we? That column there, which is the gap, your goal activation plan. This is your skills, this is your mindset, this is your knowledge. So you're then going to start filling it. I'm going to give a specific example. So when I first created this program 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to go on a bit of a health kick, fitness. I wanted to see how far I could push my body. I've always been fairly healthy and fit, but I've never, since school, done any real exertion to lift my game. So I thought, I want to practice this. I want to perfect this. Not only it was connected to my breathing goals when I was becoming a conscious, connected breather, or I was learning about it, I should say, and also then in bridging the gap. So I went from being unfit, healthy, but unfit, who I am now, to who will I become? A triathlete was my goal. I wanted to become a triathlete. Now, I could have researched a specific triathlete's name, but triathletes gave me enough of a benchmark to compare myself to. So now I need to work out, well, what is this gap between this unfit person who can jog a couple of kilometers to be able to do triathlons? This would then help me to knowing what skills I needed, what knowledge I needed, and what mindset I needed to get there. So then you're going to ask yourself questions. I've got them listed up here. How does a triathlete think? What does a triathlete do? What does a triathlete know? How does a triathlete speak? Where does a triathlete hang out online? What training plan does a triathlete have? So I can start to actually then do research against this, which fills my gap. Google, plenty of them, meet a triathlete if I knew one. Well, I do actually, but I could meet one and ask them these questions, which then would give me the benchmark of what I need to do. And there's one key one that's actually missing over there, and that's habits. What habits does a triathlete have that I don't have? What habits do I have that a triathlete doesn't that I need to drop? Now I'll talk about habits actually one day soon. Maybe we'll do that next week. So why does this work? Well, using this example becomes a lot easier to relate the questions of the identity of that individual, the skills, the knowledge, the mindset that they have that got them to that level, which is the one that I want to attest to. So, for example, while I was busy going through this, and I did it through 2023, go onto YouTube, you can see my journey of my full marathon that I ran. Ultimately, triathlete, I didn't achieve the full triathlete, don't have a bicycle, but I pushed myself to the next level of running, multiple half marathons and one full marathon as well, all breathing in and out my nose. Another part of my goal. But while I'm busy training, it's winter. My exercise regime in the morning. It's raining outside, it's windy, and it's cold. I'm in the duvet, tucked up, warm, gas heater's on. I'm not getting out of bed. Not this morning. I'll train tomorrow. Ask the question. What does a triathlete do under these circumstances? What would a triathlete do? If they're on a training program, what would they do? They'd get up anyway. As soon as I could relate that, I got up and I went and I did it. Hence why I achieved so much that I actually managed to, having never run anything further than maybe a couple of kilometers before. It helps you benchmark yourself against something specific to achieve that goal. So do I regret not having done triathlons? I've just parked it on the shelf for the moment. But what I achieved from the fitness perspective and how I pushed myself and what I learned about myself through the journey of running multiple half marathons and one full marathon would never have got there if I hadn't benchmarked myself against a triathlete. So this is the bridging the gap. Take this information and have a look at who do you know. Can be a celebrity, somebody you look up to, somebody you know in your family, your business, your surroundings, who has a lifestyle or has something that you would love to have. And sit down and ask them the questions, which I've gone through now. So this is a part of my program. It's a small piece, and I run this as a full session. So I've given to you 15 minutes, a soundbite that actually becomes the bridging the gap exercise runs through the entire 6-month program to help you become who you will be, or if we look in law of attraction, who am I right now? So click the link below, join my free Pathfinder community. I'm here live every Monday. I've got a few minutes over time. I hope you've gained value from this. My name's Tim Wagner. It's a pleasure sharing with you. So until the same time,